It's Kingslayer time again, ladies and gentlemen. And today I'm bringing another video for the guides playlist. This one have not been requested for me to do. It's just that I was investigating about that topic anyways. So, plus we have a lot of people that want to get into Tekken and are more around the beginner level. This might be a helpful video for them, but also for experienced players. Some of them that were not even aware of this, they're going to find it helpful to some extent as well. And with that being said, I think it's going to be a helpful video overall. Today we're going to talk about Asuka's parry, obviously, which is infamous from her. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. And the thing is that people most of the time do not know how to counter it, and that's what we're going to discuss in this video. So, of course, you know that she has two versions of it. This is the obvious long version, and she has the quick version. So, overall in general, something to take note of is that every Asuka player that throws it out quite a lot, or that has just some tendencies to throw it out, they are all sensitive to pressure. So using lows, just maybe one low that makes you plus, is enough for them to get triggered to use that and panic. Because she has two versions, she can expend the shorter one immediately. So due to the fact it has such a long open window, that's what makes it so accessible for her. The thing what we're going to talk about, how to counter it, is that you have the possibility to, of course, avoid it completely just by movement, of course letting her whiff that. Of course you can go in with things like knees and elbows, because all reversals like Asuka's are weak to knees and elbows. She can't do anything with that. So in general, this is like the go-to thing that you can know and apply that to your own character very uniquely. The thing what we're going to talk about next is the head-to-head confrontation version, which is chicken the parry. This is quite useful if you really want to heavily discourage the Asuka player from doing it, because with this technique you show the Asuka player immediately that you know what you're doing and you're completely aware of the stuff that he's throwing out. So the way how this works is actually, I'm gonna try to explain it with a jab pressure example. They, like I said, they are sensitive to getting pressured. Very quickly you will see that they will throw it out. And as soon as you pressure them like that, and you may think they're gonna throw it out, you can wait, of course, and safely launch for big damage. Very easy to do. You have like you can wait long. If you don't press anything, you don't get trapped in this, you have time to launch. But you have to wait somewhat precise, because if you want to launch too early, this will happen. You will get a feeling for this timing when to launch. But like I said, the more head-to-head confrontation version, like I said, chickening, works quite differently. Here you have to use the impact of your hit and then reverse her parry. And this is what it will look like then. That's what happens if you really go head-to-head with this. But like I said, you don't have any reaction time. You need to do it on the impact of your hit. Which means if you want to do it somewhat on reaction like this now, you have no time. You have no time. So you need to anticipate, if you really want to discourage them like that, you need to either when you're about to pressure, you anticipate it and stop, and then really kick into that parry on purpose. But like I said, it's quite difficult because you have no reaction time. And the thing is, if you use your one jab, you always, in order to chicken, first up you always have to press forward, but you always have to use the same limb as with which you're striking the opponent with. For example, if I use my one jab, which is my left arm, and I want to chicken successfully, I'll also have to connect my 3 input into it. And then it will end up look like this on successful chickening. You see the input? I press forward with I press jab, of course, but with the jab I press forward, and with the forward I press 3 and 1. That's what you have to do on the impact of your hits if you want to chicken it successfully. Another thing you can do, especially with Jin, or rather with every single character that has like a long range tool, you know, Brian's 3+4 works perfectly on that as well. If you see that an Asuka player just throws that out randomly or predictively, and you want to discourage them on purpose, you can use your long range attack to get some sort of reaction time. So especially if it's the long one, pause though, but if you use the long parry, you can use your long range attack, purposely kicking it into the parry in order to discourage her from using it. This gives you somewhat of reaction time. Maybe worth taking note of is that they actually take 15 points of damage when you chicken them out. But I prefer this method to some extent if you feel comfortable with it, because you have no reaction time. You really need to have the read on your opponents, and you need to know when they get pressured. If you're really not getting comfortable with this technique, because you have to practice this in practice mode, really. If you don't get too comfortable with this, and like I said, you want to pressure the opponent anyways, and you don't want to be feared of the parry, of course, lows are always an option. But if you want to stay mid, of course, that's where the parry strikes, naturally. Use, like I said, knees and elbows. She can't do anything here with it. She can't do anything. They will always work. King's hop kick, for example, beautiful example, really, just beautiful example. Again, in Jin's particular case, I would refer to his back 3. Just the knee itself. It's just as fast as forward 4. It's 16 frames fast. It's -6 on block, but of course if you do it into the parry, you won't get blocked. So with this you gain 5 frames on hit. You're +5 then. If you do it into her parry, +5. And you deal 17 points of damage. And if you want to sacrifice one of these additional frames, you can transition into your stance then. At +4. This is very powerful, but you have to keep in mind, as soon as you transition and you want to connect another follow-up mid, which is no knee and no elbow, you get clipped by the parry most of the time. So if you want to use this transition, go with a low. Go with a low or some sort like that, or just if you really have the read on your if you really have the read on your opponent, you're just gonna cancel and wait for them to do anything else. This is what I recommend, of course. And like I said, if you see the long version, don't hesitate to launch her like that. This gives you much more damage, and it's somewhat discouraging, but I really made the experience that they obviously don't care if they get launched like this. I think if you chicken them out like that, that's much more in your face. And like I said, if you have long range tools, try to bridge over with your reaction time like that, you know, that you extend your reaction time somewhat by purposely kicking into it. And if you can't do that, use knees, use elbows, whatever your character has, use that, just to stay safe against the parry when you want to pressure. And other than that, if you have the read on your opponent, the feeling on your opponent, if you pressure them with a couple of lows and you know they will throw it out, no matter which version though, of course the longer version is easier to launch, but even on the short version, like if you use a low like that, they will throw it out immediately. Because you are the one that have time then, as soon as you see the parry gets thrown out wild. You are the one that have time then, not the other. So again, if you want to chicken it, remember to press both limbs on impact of your hits. Maybe it works easier on the longer version, hold on. There. And if you really want to get consistent with this and really want to discourage Asuka players like this, go into practice mode and practice this. You see? I was aware of this and I still fucked it up. So it's like I said, you really need to burn this down, and this way you know what you do then. And like I said, always remember that you need to connect your one jab with your third leg, so to speak. Stop! Shit! But with your leg on 3, which is your left one, or depending on kicks, if you use standing 4, for example, you have to use your 2 jab. And it always will deal 15 points of damage. So there is no difference in which you chicken with that you get more points of damage or something. But yeah, this would be everything I would like to cover. Maybe I think that was informative to some extent, I don't know. I just hope that this clears up a little annoying topic to go through when you're trying to progress in Tekken, and maybe you guys can apply these tips. Like I said, if you want to chicken it, go into practice mode, practice this. If you have a sense on your opponent that they feel pressured, backdash, search the whiff, launch accordingly. But if you really want to discourage them on purpose, make sure you chicken that, because that's really in your face immediately. And yeah, that would be all I could tell you guys about this. Let me know any type of feedback, critics, whatever. Let me know that in case there is something to let me know of. And yeah, with that being said, I hope this guide helped you to some extent. And then you guys make sure that you're gonna stay healthy. And then we're gonna see us the next time again.